All right. Thanks, guys, for coming. My name is Deb. I am the founder of Find Calm Here. We're all about finding unique and awesome ways how to find calm in any situation, taking you from chaos to calm. We've got Nick with us today. He's going to talk to us about finding calm with adventure. So I'm going to kick it right over to you, Nick, and let's get into this.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, let's dive in. So, we're here to talk about finding calm through adventure. And this is a topic near and dear to my heart. I am a life coach and I help people to find life and find the life they want and really see life as an adventure. That's my whole thing is built on the premise that life is an adventure and that you get to choose your adventure and you get to live it. So the first thing I want to do right away, I just want to pose a question to all of you. And does everyone have a pen, a piece of paper, something to take some notes with? What we're going to do here is awesome. Yeah. So the flow of this gathering is going to be, I think, what I have in my head is, pose some questions. You guys will have time to reflect, and then we'll share and kind of keep that rhythm going. And so the first question that I want to ask and invite you guys to consider is, what is it about exploring calm through adventure that is important for you? And so I'll ask the question again, but just, take maybe 60 seconds or so just to jot down some thoughts. And then once we're done with that, I'll break you out into pairs and you guys can share what you wrote. So the question is just, what is it about being here, exploring how to find calm with adventure that's important for you? So go ahead and just jot down some thoughts. I'll keep track of the time. As you're writing these thoughts down, something to think about is, in bigger picture, what is it about being here, exploring this topic that's important for your family? Maybe even for your community, or even the world. And so wherever you're at is fine. Like I said, now I'm going to put you into breakout rooms and just share what came up for you with your partner. So we'll take about 2 minutes, maybe a minute each, and just
if you guys, just to preface everybody who has not been in the breakout rooms, Nick, you just might want to explain just to make sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a couple of tricks. So I'll run the show here and you'll get a pop-up in your screen. You'll have a little blue button that'll say join room. You just click that and it'll put you into the room. Your partner will show up and you guys can just talk just like we're doing here, but it'll just be one-on-one. And then I'll keep track of time. And then about a minute in, you'll see something pop up that says you have 60 more seconds. And then it'll automatically bring you in. So you don't have to click anything to come back into the bigger room here. So when you see that prompt, just keep sharing and then you'll be popped back into this room. When you come back, I'd love to hear from a few of you, what you shared or what you heard, and then we'll get the ball rolling that way. So any thoughts or comments on this? All right, let me throw the question into the chat so that you have the prompt, and then we'll go for it. Okay, there's the question. All right, now Gabriella and Mel know about this because we met recently, but in this day and age with everything that's going on, we're gonna have to help each other out, get into the breakout rooms, okay? So this is a little bit like we're gonna be moving into the 5th dimension here. So what I need everyone to do is put your hands together if you can. Mel, I understand you're driving, so go ahead and use your knees and put your hands together. No, I'm just kidding. Hands together, interlace your fingers, and then we're gonna gotta do the wave. This is the only way this is gonna work. There we go. All right. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. You guys keep it up. I'm going to put us into rooms and you got to keep going. It's not working yet. All right. Okay. Here we go. All right. You might have 3 in your room. Here we go. You're going to see a little blue button pop up. Go ahead and click that.
There, can you hear me?
Hey,
Hey, hi, welcome back, girl. Okay,
lovely to see you.
I'd love you to see you. You look refreshed today. You really look on top of it. I love it. You
Oh,
are looking beautiful. Oh, can you hear me?
thank
I'm
you.
out. I'm at my garden. I'm trying to get the UOP gardens pointed. So I'm at the college park and a university in the garden. So I'm trying to get live settings for us. So that's what I'm on to today.
I love
So,
it. It looks
yeah.
beautiful.
Oh, it is. It's gorgeous. Yeah. So anyway. Okay, we got how many seconds to think about this one?
I think he's
And
gonna
you've
give
been
us.
working it.
I think he's gonna give us like
Okay.
a couple minutes.
Okay. Well, I'm diving in. Well, you want to go for me? Or do you want me to go for you?
You go.
Let me go?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this adventure has been stirring my spirit so much. I'm so excited. I feel like I'm a new kid on the block, walking into first year of school, college, but I feel so confident because of just you personally. Since I can talk to you personally, you've opened the door to a new brainwave. Seriously, it was amazing. I knew it was dead. I knew I was dying. And it's the encouragement that you jumped into something that was out of your box. You still had all this. And this is how I've been talking to everybody. I talk to people about this all the time. I don't act on it. So I am just refreshed, and I don't know if this is, but for the community at large, my small community, my national community, and I'm talking about this everywhere.
I'm so happy to hear that.
Who knows where that'll go? And it just spurred, I had my girlfriend and we spurred on to each other. We used to write curriculum together. And she goes, I'm brain dead. I said, no, you're not. You're just brain clogged. And we played back and forth. And just to get an older element, not thinking dead. So I don't know. I don't know if we should go that direction. But for me, it's just, I'm in a new world. And it's just such a positive thing. And I know that this is the jump, leap, whatever needs to be. You're the motivator of it, and it's going to do some amazing things.
Well, that's sweet. That's so kind. But you made choices. You joined Location Indie. You took action.
Yeah.
That's how I met you.
Right. I took action. That's right. And I think the whole thing is taking action, and I live in a world. Leave now. Okay.
Well, it says in 56 seconds. Oh, she left.
I just saw
Oh,
it pop up.
looks like-
And
Did you have a chance to share?
Only one side.
Okay.
Deb didn't have time to share, so we need to go back.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Well, at this point, everybody's coming back. Deb, would you
Okay.
mind just
That's
sharing?
okay. I can
We're going to
share.
have sharing anyways at this point. Would you mind just sharing with the larger group?
No, yeah, we'll just all share the love, right?
Yeah.
I gotta keep my fingers
Sure.
off the keyboard.
I love it, Deb.
And I kind of already shared, my most recent adventure in our promo video, but I don't know that everybody on the call saw that. So
Yeah. Awesome. Well, we're here to challenge each other to be bold anyways. So.
but where did everybody go now? Are they coming back?
They're
Here
coming
they
back.
come.
Yep,
Here they
they're
come.
coming back.
Okay. I was getting worried. I'm like, uh-oh, did we lose them?
Yeah. I don't know how to come back from the fifth dimension. I just have faith that it works. So.
Did everybody come back? Is everybody here? If you're not here, raise your hand.
That's right. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Let's hear. Are we really
Are
back?
we here? Yes.
Awesome. Welcome back, everybody. I hope everybody had a chance to share. If you didn't, now is your chance. And even if you did, I'd love to hear from 2, 3, or 4 of you, what you shared, what came up for you. Love to hear it. So whoever would like to go first, you can just raise your hand or unmute yourself. And if you don't want to go first, you can go second. But if no one
Oh, I'll
goes
jump
first,
in.
then whoever
No one
goes
wants to
second goes
go?
first.
I'll go first. So who wants to go? You guys want to? Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I think this has been the most challenging, but also beautiful thing that have taken place in my life, probably since about 3 years ago when I packed everything up and moved to an island. So now I packed up and moved back to the mainland. So this is my next adventure. And I love, Nick, what you're talking about, because without adventure, your life, I think, is pretty stagnant. So everybody that's on this call, I think your lives are going to change tenfold. But for Indy and all the other opportunities that have been placed, actually since COVID-19 has changed my world. So, and it's changed myself personally, that I'm more bolder. I woke up to my dead brain, more or less, where I like to kayak on the ocean and cook. And this has just brought back the love that I have to share with community. So.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you, Deb. That you bring up a really great point, and I appreciate you for sharing and being bold and going first. This idea of waking up to what really lights you up, and how that can empower you to then show up bigger in the world. It's all tied together. Thank you. Who would love to go second? Yeah, go ahead, Mel.
So I was just going to say that for most of my adult life, I've lived with fear as keeping me back from adventure in a lot of ways. And so I decided that 2020 would be my year of yes. And I'm trying to say yes to everything. Well, not trying, I am. And just no matter how scared I am or uncomfortable I am, doing it anyway. And I'm just super excited to see already since January, like huge leaps and bounds in my personal journey. And also just, I'm noticing my 22-year-old daughter is doing a lot. Also that she has let anxiety and depression hold her back, and she's breaking free from that. And so I'm seeing the ripple effect. And just also, you asked about the community in the world. Some things are coming up for me, opportunities that are going to be able to bless people in my community and in my world. And I would have never said yes before. So I'm looking at that as my form of adventure. I'm excited to see where I'll go with that. And I just need to keep saying yes, even though sometimes it's super, super scary.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you, Mel. That's awesome. So inspiring. I mean, it's so true that it's that first step of saying yes, right? Of answering the call to adventure, if you will, right? The whole hero's journey. You got to say yes. You got to take that leap into the unknown. And when you do, how much you can inspire those around you, and things start to open up in your world.
Well, and I've realized most of the time it's not as bad as you imagine it. And it made me realize and reflect, like, how much did I miss out on by letting that fear rule me? But I can't stay there, because then I'll feel bad. But
right.
when you take that first step, a lot of times you're like, oh, that was it? Like, what was I so scared of? So.
Yeah. And the timing is always perfect, right? It's never too late. Never too late. Who else would like to share? We have one or two more.
I'll share. So I was just sharing with my partner that I feel like it would help to keep things fresh and interesting, and also would help to keep your mind focused on fun and energizing activities. And in regards to those points, I was saying it's nice to have shared experiences with your family, as well as being able to teach your community and inspire the world. So those are some of my thoughts that came to mind.
I love that. Yeah, that's juicy. Great stuff.
Thank you.
Awesome. If there's one more, I'm feeling one more, and then hang on one second. Excuse me.
All right. Well, Nick's out. I'll do my share. I don't know that everybody saw we did a Facebook Live with Nick and I the other day. And so I kind of did share my story a little bit. Here comes my mom. So everybody be nice. Like, we're not going to be nice. I'm silly. So my scary thing that I just recently did was this community, building this community. I didn't know that I was going to build this community 2 months ago, and I didn't have any clue of what that meant, or if anybody was going to really want to be interested in being part of it. And I just started to ask people, is this something that sounds interesting to you? And like with this, I don't know, kind of a feeling, but knowing in my heart that it was where I needed to be and what I needed to do. But yet I had no, and then I started just getting feedback from people like, this is amazing. Like, I love this idea. And the more I developed it and the clearer that I got with it, the more I knew that I needed to continue to create this community, that now you guys are all here and we're all experiencing this. And I literally just created it out of an idea from something. I mean, I had the idea for a while, but I wanted to have in-person events. And then the tech, being scared about technology, about how do I make it all work, was the really big thing that I was like, I don't know how to do any of this stuff. I'd have to learn everything about everything. And I broke it down over the last 2 months and said, okay, well, I need to learn how to get email addresses. And so I Googled how to figure that out. Like, everything was just like, I just started. You just have to start. So a lot of that, people that say you just start, so people, a couple people mentioned to me about how I take action. And I'm like, yeah, because I realized that there was a time that I just needed to start. Even if that was just a baby step in Googling how to do something, that's the first step. That's starting. So that was like what I wanted to share as far as like my most recent scary adventure that I've been on. And it's been a roller coaster ride that we're still on, and we're launching this community to the world in the next couple of weeks. And we've already launched it because you guys are already here, but it's going to be there's going to be so many amazing things that are going to be happening in the next couple of weeks. And I'm really excited about it. So I'm lots of gratitude for everybody that's on the call. And thank you for sharing your time and your wisdom with us. And I will give it back to Nick and stop talking.
Yeah, and that's such a beautiful example. Thank you, Deb. And it was meant to be that you were not going to share in the small group, you were going to share in the large group, because it's such a beautiful example of one person taking that leap of faith, right, into the excitement, into the fear, into the unknown. And it's already had such an incredible ripple effect. And that's what happens. That's how we know we're living our adventure and we're out there in the world, is because it impacts so many people. And I fully believe this community is going to change some lives in a big way. So, yeah, go ahead, Gabriella.
I just wanted to share one more. It kind of ties in with what everybody else shared too. But I was actually really inspired by what my partner shared. And my partner, can I call you out? Just give me a nod. Okay, Carolyn shared with me. But I was inspired by hers because she was saying that somebody else said this, like keeping things fresh and interesting. But also, if you look at every day as an adventure, and if you approach life that way, even if it is the mundane, because we're in COVID right now, and a lot of us are running into the same routines and the same cycles and ways of being every single day. But if you find ways to make that an adventure later in life, you will look back at your life and appreciate life in a much different way, looking through that lens of adventure in a way. And I thought that was really insightful, because it just kind of causes me to pause and think like, well, how can I turn every day into an adventure? And it just causes me to reflect on, like, it doesn't need to be something big or something like, because when I think of an adventure, I think of like traveling and going to a different country, backpacking, like going out to nature, things that aren't really available to a lot of people right now. So I appreciated Carolyn's share.
Yeah, thank you, Gabrielle, and thank you, Carolyn. That's awesome. This is a big idea. Life is an adventure. That's like, okay, whoa. But it doesn't mean that it has to stay in that huge idea realm. It's how can you pull that feeling in to your everyday life, to everyday challenges that come up. We're all products of the industrial age. We've all been trained and taught to work in isolation and to grind things out and to do a task list and all that kind of stuff. Well, this statement is really a manifesto, right? It's an idea. It's an invitation to look at things differently and, you know, consider how do you approach things if it's an adventure. And so, you know, what I love to do in my coaching practice is I weave in these ideas that, you know, it's like the choose your adventure books, you know, choose your adventure stories, because that's what life is. It's a choose your adventure experience. And I weave in this idea of, you know, when you're in an outdoors adventure or you're traveling, you're doing those big things that Gabriella was mentioning, you know, you tend to experience those differently than your everyday life, you know, when you come home and you're in your job and all that kind of stuff. So how can we pull in both this idea of I get to choose and I get to live, and, you know, when I'm on this epic, fun, playful, you know, adventure, what are those elements that I can apply to my everyday life to bring that sense of adventurousness and playfulness into every day? Because it's up to us. We get to choose how we live this life. What I'd love to just take a quick poll, and anybody that feels compelled to speak up. When I say that statement, life is an adventure, what comes up for you? What words come up? You know, what how does that fit? You know, for you, kind of how I was just talking about, choose your adventure, doing outdoors adventure, living your life. What comes up? Any thoughts around that?
The word fun popped in my head. I want
Yes.
my life adventure to be fun.
I love that.
Curiosity.
Beautiful.
Freedom.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else have a word they're just burning to share?
Spontaneous.
Spontaneous. Nice.
Enjoying the ride.
Yeah.
Resilience.
Yes.
I go free fall.
Free fall?
Yes.
Love that. Yeah. When you say free fall, what's the feeling that you were thinking of when that word came up for you?
Well, since actually I'll say I'm just a few days away from my 65th birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And when 23 years ago, I had my last child, and I've watched that adventure with 4 kids spreading for almost 3 decades to a world of adventure every moment. And if you hold back, if you're scared of jumping, somebody's going to push you, and that becomes a terrifying walk. But when you free fall, you have the will and the mindset to jump. I did bungee cord. I was terrified of heights all my life. I still am, but I will bungee jump anywhere because I know that there's something holding on to me. And I take life in the strength of that every day. And that means from this COBA, sitting in this park, making this video, talking to you guys has been a leap of my comfort zone. Not that I don't like to do it, but if you free fall, you're not going to hurt yourself. Meaning you have enough connections around you to do it. Like Deb free falled into this, not knowing, and look at what's come from it. And so there are people have shared that. I think we live in such a controlled environment that our grandparents lived in free fall 90% of their life. And we have missed out on so many things because of the control that the world has put on us. So that's where I'm at. Sorry to be lengthy.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing, Deb. That's so much gold in that share. I'll leave it at that. I think that's beautiful. The idea of being connected and allowing, you know, these are all huge parts of living an adventure. So thank you all for these. These are great words. And, you know, I'll just read them back for everybody to hear. Fun, curiosity, freedom, spontaneous, enjoying the ride, resilience, and free fall. Amazing. These are things we want more of in our lives and in the world, right? Because this creates conditions where creativity and playfulness and adventure can thrive. And so, and I love, Deb, that you mentioned control, because that's a big piece of what I help people to let go of and to find acceptance, to find surrender. And I'll share a brief story in a moment about how I went through that process on my own, and that led to my awakening. And so, but before we do that, I want to dive into another question. And I'd like to just invite you to think about a time when you took a bold leap into the unknown. And we've heard a couple examples of that here already, but I just want to focus in on this. And I think we'll go back into breakout rooms. Maybe we'll do a little bit bigger groups just to kind of mix it up. But the question is, when was a time when you took a bold leap into the unknown? And then as you think about this, I'd like you to think about what made this possible. And when you think about what made it possible, in terms of how you showed up, what you brought to the situation, and also who helped you. Okay, so I'm gonna pop that question in the chat here. Essentially, it's, when did you take a bold leap into the unknown? And what made it possible about you and anyone who helped you? And I'll give you a few more seconds to just kind of jot some thoughts down, and then we will jump into small groups. All right, wherever you're at is fine. And hang on, I would be remiss if we didn't welcome Carol, and we have a twofer on the screen. Carol, can you introduce your screen partner?
Melody.
Melanie or Melody?
Melody.
Okay.
In my heart there rings a melody.
That's right. We can all use some heart melody. I love that. Well, thank you for showing up and being here with us and exploring finding calm with adventure. All right, so I'm going to set up breakout rooms again, and you guys know the drill. Yeah, there we go. Mel's getting it started. Let's recreate these to some different rooms. Okay. All right. Yep. And we're going to have 3 to 4 per room here. Let's do about a minute each to share. So we'll take 4 or 5 minutes total, and I'll keep track. That's right. And here we go. All right. Enjoy. We'll see you back here, and we'll share when we.
Perfect. Melody and Mother. And we got Mel and Adrian.
Hi.
Hi. Melody, that was your first time teleporting, both of you, right? Into a breakout room.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got to quit doing arm days on the days I do calls with Nick.
Oh, that's funny, Mel. Where are you? Mel, where are you at?
Western Massachusetts.
Okay. Are you a friend of Nick's?
We just met through Gabriella. She hosted something where he facilitated.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, we just met that way, and I've done she's had a couple events with him facilitating, so.
Cool. All right, I'm sorry.
Now we're friends, and we only live 2 hours apart, so we just figured it out.
Cool. All right. Well, since you were I asked you that question, did you want to answer your share?
Sure. So I've been trying to get healthy and mentally and physically my whole adult life. I'm 46 now. Nothing's worked. And September of 2019, somebody introduced me to the book Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. If you haven't read it,
Yes.
I read and implemented that. September 15th was my first day. Found out about his event, Best Year Ever, in December of 2019. Figured out it was the last one. I was going to go in 2020. They announced it was the last one. Freaked out because I knew this was what was going to transform my life. Made a bunch of sacrifices to afford it. I used miles.
I'm getting chills right now.
I used miles for my flight. I found a roommate, someone I didn't know, which is super uncomfortable for me. So I only had to pay half of the hotel room. Had a panic attack the first morning there. I actually stood up and talked about my panic and my anxiety in front of 600 people, just to tell them, like, I don't know why I'm here. Like, I'm freaking out. And that weekend transformed my whole life. I met my current life coach there. I didn't know at the time he would end up being my life coach, but everything I've done since then, like, people that knew me and met me at that event and know me now, like, are shocked that I'm the same person. I was walking with a cane back then. I'm down since December. I'm down like 38 pounds. So that was definitely, I know that's more current, but in my whole life, that was my leap of faith into the unknown, and it scared the shit out of me. But I knew I had to do it. And here I am, like, I've done a 180, and I owed all to the lady that introduced me to Hal's book.
Wow, Mel, that's amazing. That is an adventure, quite an adventure, and a scary one. And wow, just impressive. I'm so excited for you and what's to come.
Thank you.
You were giving me chills when you were telling me that. Like, that was like, first of all, the idea of this is his last one, and you had to get there to, you find his book, and then you find his seminar, and then it's the last one, and you have to go and you have to make it work. Like, I don't know, like the whole time I'm like, oh my gosh, like just the chills
And
coming.
that's not the old me. I would have been like, oh, well, it's the last one. But I just knew I needed to do something. I was almost 350 pounds. It was just time. But other people can share now. If you guys want to hear more of my story, you can reach out to me.
Thank you, Mel, for sharing. Adrian, why don't you go next since you were chatting?
I think for mine, there's two that I picked out specifically. The first was when we started the podcast. I have a podcast, the Pirate Life podcast, with myself and two of my girlfriends. And it was one of those ideas we had separately. Some people say, oh, I love hearing about your adventures. I love hearing what you girls do. And we kind of thought, wouldn't it be nice to be able to share this with more people? And one day, you walk out of the shower, I'm standing there with a towel wrapped around me, and I'm thinking, what if and I messaged them, I'm like, I got a really crazy idea. And like, we knew nothing about it. We didn't know the equipment. We didn't know how to talk. We did nothing. And we had conversations with a lot of great people that helped to mentor us and teach us. And we just had our first official season. We've been doing it for a year now. We're working on season 2. But it was super scary, and it's still scary because you're putting yourself out there on a public platform, but we really enjoy it.
Love it. I'm a subscriber.
What's the name of it?
The Pirate Life Podcast. And it's actually about adventure and friendship and wellness and all those kinds of themes.
And Adrian, you can message Mel or put it in the chat when we get back into the main group too.
Okay.
Melody or Mom, would you like to go?
I guess my biggest adventure is having my son. He's a handful right now. He's 21 months.
Don't press it. Nobody press the button yet. We have 50 seconds.
Yeah, he's just a big ball of energy.
I feel like as parenthood, I don't experience it, but I agree that's a big adventure.
Yes.
Especially that age.
Yeah.
Because they're coming out of babyhood and going into more independence.
Yeah.
For sure.
I don't know when in life I've not gone on the unknown, because every day is an unknown. But going to New York City, joining a ministry in New York City, getting married, that's certainly unknown. Everything in life is an unknown.
You guys are going to go back now. They're going to send you back into the main group.
All right. Welcome back to the mothership.
Do we have everybody back in here? Everybody, it looks like everybody's back.
Yeah, looks like it. Yeah, awesome. Okay, so welcome back. If you didn't have a chance to share and you want to share, go ahead and raise your hand. Okay, so it looks like everybody either shared or doesn't want to share. Hopefully everyone had a chance to share.
I didn't get to go, but
okay.
I'm okay with that because I just shared about the other stuff. So.
Okay, yeah, and you can still contribute, so don't worry. It's a little tricky running the show on Zoom because you get fairly disconnected once everybody goes into the rooms. So it's a little different than in person where you can kind of walk around and eavesdrop and manage the energy and the flow. So I appreciate you guys self-managing in these groups. And so now I'd just like to bring some of the wisdom that came out, some of the shares that came out in the smaller groups. Let's just bring those to the larger group. And somebody needs to hear what you have to say. And whether that's something that you brought to this experience or something about somebody that helped you, a guide, a friend, a mentor. Okay, sounds good, Deb. Hopefully you can stay connected. So whoever would like to go first, and you can share a little bit about the actual leap, or the actual adventure. But let's keep that to 30 seconds or so. We really want to hear it about what did you bring to this experience, what made it possible, and who helped you. So whoever would like to go first can just jump right in, take the bold leap into the unknown of this conversation. And who would like to go first? Yeah, Adrian. Yeah.
I can share.
Awesome.
My example was when I have two close friends. We created a podcast together called the Pirate Life Podcast. And it was one of those random ideas that, yeah, why not? And then we tried it having no idea how to actually do it. But we had a lot of great people. We had a fellow podcaster who I went to grad school with, and we actually met through a couple of meditation workshops that we had gone to together. And she actually took so much time to show us like the tech and like how to work all of that. And then we have a producer, Paul Miller, who has been so wonderful about helping us to record, and like we couldn't have done it without them. We just had a lot of great resources and people that were willing to support us. And then all the great people that take their time to listen to us. So, but we're still learning. We're a year in, we're still learning.
I love that, Adrian. That's so cool. And what did it take for you? How did you show up? What qualities did you really lean into?
I remember a really scary message to the other two girls saying, I have this idea, don't laugh at me. And being what are they going to say? And are they going to want to do this? And are they it was scary. It just the willingness, I guess, to take that chance.
Yeah, that's so perfect. I mean, it takes courage, right? And there's social risk. And that's a lot of what we're talking about, in an outdoors adventure where you're scaling the side of a cliff, maybe there's some real physical, risk here. But oftentimes when we talk about life as an adventure and we're taking these leaps into our most adventurous, our most playful lives that we want to live, there's a lot more social risk. Oftentimes it feels the same, so that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And by the way, probably the best title for any podcast ever. So I'll put my vote in for that. Who would like to share? Who else would like to share their experience of taking a leap and what that took and maybe who helped them along the way? Yeah, Gabriella, go ahead.
I know I spoke already, but I think this may be valuable to some people. At the beginning of this year, I actually left a good relationship. And it was because of a deeper intuitive knowing that there was something not right, and that the true relationship I needed to work on was one with myself. And so that was a big leap into the unknown, because I didn't know what was going to happen with that. And it was also a very difficult decision to make, but I knew it had to be made. And what made it possible was having a deep sense of knowing oneself and recognizing what was truly necessary at the time, and knowing that the relationship with myself is the one thing that had to be developed in order to be functional in any sort of relationship with another person. And so what I brought to that was that knowing was strength that has been built up over years, and communities of people that support each other have helped, and friends, and just people who also have wisdom, older, especially people who have lived or who have married and divorced and just going through that. So people with experience have helped, but I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, thank you, Gabriella. That's really powerful. And I appreciate your vulnerability sharing that here with this group. You know, it's so important to get in touch with that inner sense of self, that inner truth, certainly in relationships, but really in everything we do, because to live our most adventurous life, it requires us to get out in the world. Requires us to relate with other people, you know, for influence, and to be able to create stuff and share stuff, and all of that requires that confidence in self. And it's not easy, and it's a lifelong journey, I'm convinced. But to take that bold step and knowing that is really, really beautiful. And then I love that you mentioned, you know, you leaned on communities. It's so important, right? We cannot live our best life. We cannot live an adventure without being with other people, right? And they help us along, and you know, there's so much wisdom there. So I love that. Is there one more share? And by the way, if you've shared already, you can share again. Yeah, Carol, go ahead. Carol, and then Carolyn, look at that. It's a family deal. Could you unmute yourself, Carol?
I don't know if everybody knows, Deborah's my daughter. Deborah Shell is my daughter.
Oh, okay.
And Melody Shell is Melody Calvert is sitting beside me, my daughter. So anyway, as I said in the small group, basically life is an adventure. When I joined a ministry in New York, when I got married, you don't know what's going to happen. You know, you don't know how it's going to unfold, and life is unfolding. But the thing that has been my strength throughout my years has been my relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ, and his strength and his ability to be my friend and to guide me through my life and to help to be there. And I haven't always relied on him. Sometimes I didn't rely on him, and I should have, but he has been a source of strength and comfort to me and wisdom, so, especially through my husband.
Yeah, thank you, Carol. Yeah, you bring up a really good point that, you know, this is not a one-track show, right? I mean, there's so many different things, mind, body, and spirit, that go into our life experience here. And, you know, considering, how do you feel about spirituality? You know, what is there in terms of oneness, in terms of, you know, transcendent beliefs, you know, and what amount of surrender and acceptance is required there to help you to really be able to make it through, you know, some of the big waves of life and the big challenges. So thank you for sharing that. Carolyn, did you have a share?
Sure, yeah. I'll try to keep it brief because I'm not. Especially like, this is such a big thing that I'm always writing about, and I just keep going and going. But 2018 was this perfect storm for me, where I was making a lot of changes that are still unfolding now. I quit a job that was sucking my soul, and started to, with the intention of working independently so that I could be location independent. And then I took a 3-week trip to Europe, 3.5 weeks actually, to Europe. And there were just a lot of changes within myself during that whole time, but the things that really helped me make those changes and make those leaps were the fact that I had a lot of financial support. I was living with my parents, so I didn't have a lot of worry that way. I had some savings because I'd been saving for a house that I ended up deciding not to buy because I didn't want to be so constricted to one place. And then I was in a relationship that still is inspiring me in the ways that I want to live my life now. And he was just like, he had this attitude that was just like, why not just live your life the way you want to live it and do these things that you want to do? You have all these qualities. And so, yeah, perfect storm that's still playing out now.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, you know, there's so many people that are suffering, you know, through they're in their job, they're in their life that they've built based on what they think they're supposed to do, you know, or other people's expectations, and you know, the model that's been copied over and over and over again, and that's really why I've answered my calling to adventure, right? Is to help people to break free from that and see that there are so many more possibilities for your life. And if you feel that call, you feel that pull towards something else, you need to explore it, right? You need to explore it. If we all realized what we really are and what we're really capable, none of us would be, you know, going through the motions, you know, allowing ourselves to suffer in the way that so many of us do. And that's, you know, what I'm here to do. And that's, I know what Deb is here to, you know, to help impact as well. And so I'd love to share my story, or one of my stories, just a brief example highlighting how I came to realize the importance of letting go. And this was a couple of years ago. So I have kind of bounced back and forth between really bold, adventurous choices and actions, and then really going back into like security and safety and playing it small. And I didn't really understand why. Now I have a lot more awareness about what is going on there. And it's really, you know, pushing the comfort zone, answering that call to adventure. And then when you get outside of that comfort zone, it gets scary. And so there's this survival preservation intention that we all have that says, no, go back here. It's much safer. Don't follow your heart. You know, that's the unknown. And so I've gone through various cycles of this through, you know, spending years in the punk scene in Boston, and really being adventurous there. And then I finished college and I went into engineering, which just really reinforces that safety and security and structure. And then I took a bold leap and I joined special operations, and I ended up in combat and deployed. And, you know, that was a huge adventure. And then I got out and I had a young family and I had this engineering degree, and I jumped right back into safety and security. And then I felt the pull to do something bigger. So I went for my MBA. And as I was finishing my MBA, I thought I got to get out of here. I got to go, you know, really utilize this, this degree and all these effort and money I put into this, and thinking about sunk costs. And that's a big hang up for a lot of people. So I ended up taking this great job in New Jersey, moved my whole family from New Hampshire to New Jersey. And I was doing great at work. The team loved me. I was on my way up the corporate ladder, and my whole life was falling apart, and I was miserable. And I had blinders on because I was in control. And that's a big one for me. It's a big one for a lot of people. And it's the first thing that I help people to take a look at is, where are you holding on to control? So I was very fortunate that after about a year in New Jersey, I visited a friend of mine in New Hampshire, and he asked me a very provocative question. He said, do you want to stay married to Camilla? Camilla's my wife. And at the time, I couldn't answer him. It was that heavy. And I was crying. I mean, I was like sobbing. And I knew that that was the question that I had to answer. And I knew that it would change my life. So I gave it the consideration that it deserved for a couple days, when I finally answered that question, yes, I knew it meant that I had to change everything. And I had to start by letting go of control. And so, you know, what does that mean, letting go of control? Well, control means playing it safe. It means playing it small, right? It means following that pattern that supposedly ends in a desired result. And letting go of that control meant leaping into the unknown. It meant, allowing everything to fall apart if it had to, so that I could live the life that I wanted to live. And I started to get really intentional. And the three big insights, the three big things that it took for me to begin to live my life the way that I wanted, was I had to choose to live a more alive path. I had to make that commitment. I had to find a guide, and I was very fortunate that my friend guided me through much of that journey for the first year or so after that. And I had to have faith. I had to surrender to the possibility that there was something out there and that it was all going to work out, as long as I stayed, heart-centered and intentional. And so in doing so, that meant I had to have some very difficult conversations with my boss at the time. I was there less than a year at this company, and I had to say, I'm not going to be here next year. I'm moving back to where I came from. And I had to have a very vulnerable conversation with my wife. And the beautiful thing is, once I made that decision to follow my heart, I had that conversation with my wife, and her answer was, hell yeah, let's go. She was all in. And my adventure was there waiting for me the whole time. All I had to do was take the leap. I had to take the leap, and I had to find those pieces. And that was really the beginning of my awakening, and I'm continuing to wake up to what that means to live my most adventurous life and to live into my purpose and my passion and help others to do the same. And so, now I help people find that clarity. I help them build the muscles of adaptability and resilience and acceptance. And as a coach, I can help them practice these things because they're required. We have to get out into the world. It requires social risk. It requires letting go. And we need to be able to practice those things. And we don't often have the opportunity to do those. Some of us are fortunate to have friends and family or communities that help us do that. Sometimes it's helpful to have a coach. And that's a way to do life better, right? And live your adventure. So we're just about to the end of the hour. I know. I'd love to just bring your voices back into the room one more time. Oh, thank you, Deb. Yeah. And just hear, what's one thing, after being here together, what's one thing that comes up for you that you might do in the next 24 hours to influence, create, explore, experiment with following your heart's desire, answering the call to adventure? And we're just going to kind of rapid fire here. What's one thing that you might do in the next 24 hours?
Do some journaling.
Send an email.
Love it. Journaling, and what was the other one?
Send out an email.
Nice.
A mass
Yes.
one.
Awesome. Taking action.
I
I would challenge you to up level that with reaching out on the phone.
Okay.
At least one or two. It's amazing what can happen.
Okay.
I think for me, it's going to be not having a to-do list for a couple days, because I get so focused on, I use Habit Share, and there's red check marks if you don't do it in green, and I get really upset if I see the red check marks. So I came to a realization last night, like I think I need to go a couple days without a list.
Love it. Really good awareness. Yeah. Yeah. Who else? One, two, three, or 10 more?
revisit purpose and my life's why.
That's deep. I like that.
That's a really good one.
Yeah.
I'm writing that one down.
Yeah, that I have found to be an ongoing exercise. There's always something to refine or to add or to simplify. All right, awesome. And I'd like you also to consider, as you're taking these actions or considering what's next, who might be on your team, who can help you. That's such a critical step as we move forward. In every hero's journey, you hear about the guide, right? The Obi-Wan Kenobi. There's always somebody there to help pull us when we are feeling especially challenged. So that's just a thought. Consider who might be on your team, and Find Calm here is here. That's one option, right? There's a lot of people here who are considering the same things. If any of you are interested in having a conversation about this, I'm happy to offer that to people who are on this call. We can for 15, 20 minutes and just explore. It's one of the things that lights me up, that fills me up, having conversations about adventure and about purpose and passion and stuff like that. So whether you're interested in coaching or whether you just want to have that conversation, I would love to do that for everyone here on this call. So that's all I really have. If anyone feels compelled to share, a big insight or aha or appreciation they have for this call, I think we have a couple minutes that we can do that, right, Deb?
Yeah, I was just going to say thank you. I wanted to just give you a virtual high five here, because I think everybody's in agreement that we had some amazing conversations in the breakout sessions. I'm sure you guys did as well as I did. And in the group session today, I thought it was really helpful for me personally. And I think that everybody kind of could take something a little from it. I loved the sharing that we all did. And yeah, the Find Calm Here community, this is what we're all about, is like really helping each other and supporting each other in the community. So I put a link in the chat box. If you're not already in the Find Calm Here community, you can get early access. We're launching in June, but there's a discounted rate right now that I sent in a link. If you don't know how to save the chat, just so you know, there's like 3 little dots under the chat bar. And if you click on that, you should be able to save. You can go file, I think it's file, and save into your computer or wherever you're at. So that way you have the link later if you wanted to look at it later. But I wanted to thank everybody just for their presence and their engagement, because everybody's been on the computer and everybody, on the video, and everybody's been really participating, which is really just so great to see. So I thank you all for being here, and thanks Nick for hosting this for sure.
My pleasure. Yeah. Awesome experience for me. Thank you all for being here and being so warm and engaged, and awesome.
I can't figure out how to save the chat on my phone. Can someone save it and send it to me?
Yep,
Yeah, we'll get you taken care of.
Thank you.
On my iPad, the same thing. So I don't know, it's just setting aspects or what.
Yeah. I'll have to check into that. I don't know. Ryan's on something, but he might not be able to either. So we'll check the tech out and get it sorted out. But Nick, I can send you the chat, and then you can get it to Mel maybe.
Yep. Yeah, I have it. I can send it to her. Yeah.
Who else had asked?
I believe that was Deb.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, I'll send it to you, Deb. Yeah.
Awesome.
And then if anybody else, there is an info email there, info@findcalmhere.com. So you're welcome to email that as well. If you have any questions or feedback, or if, like, you have, follow-up things that, like the chat, I can send that to you there too. Cool. Well, thanks. I know we're running a little over our timeline here, so I appreciate everybody for hanging out with us on the call. Next week, we're going to have, what's next week? Next week is, so we're switching. We've been doing Saturdays for the entire month since we started this. Find Calm Here started at the end of April, was our first event. And from April all the way through May, we've been doing Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern time. We're doing some flipping to see if we get a little bit better responses from people, and it's nice out. Everybody wants to be out on a Saturday. So to try to just do some different things to help so that people can be on the live call. We're switching it to next week. Is going to be Wednesday at what time did we say? Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And that's going to be Finding Calm with Meditation. And our friend George is going to talk to us about finding calm with meditation. So that'll be a really good one. So hopefully you can join us for that. And again, it's a different time. It's 7 p.m. on Wednesday. What I would say is if you are not already on our mailing list, go to findcalmhere.com and just throw your email in there. That way we will be sending you an update. So you have the call link and the details, and then we'll also provide you with the next, who's coming up the following week. So we can give you the heads up on that so you can put it on your calendar. Thank you guys all for being here. I just put that findcalmhere.com website in the chat as well. So if you guys wanted to click on that to get on the mailing list. If you guys have questions or comments or are interested in, joining the Find Calm Here community, like I said, we're going to be launching in June for the members. I'm still looking for some partners too, so there could be opportunities there. Again, use the info at Find Calm Here. Did I miss anything? Is there anything else I should say, Nick? What do you think?
I think you just about covered it. Yeah.
Okay.
Find Calm Here is here to stay. So
it's right here, and it's amazing, and we're zooming away. We're zooming on Zoom. So
yeah, it's an amazing community, of just light workers and healers and amazing adventurers who have so many different cool experiences, and they're here to share and help people find calm in their own life. And pro tip: so Find Calm Here is a great resource. The other thing is, if you are exploring an adventure or a big move in your life, most coaches will do an exploratory session for free. When I started my adventure a couple of years ago, I had like 3 or 4 different sessions, and it just helped so much to get some clarity. So just a little bonus
it's so
tip.
funny you say that, and I will end the call in a second for everybody, but because you said that, I want to point out one more thing. The whole reason I did Find Calm, that I created the virtual events, was through a free coaching call, because I listened to Hal Elrod's podcast, and I heard that John Berghoff was having a Zoom call. And I got on, because John Berghoff is Hal Elrod's partner. And I got on a call with John Berghoff, and I met Jesse Hartless. And through meeting Jesse Hartless, I decided through a series of questions that I wanted to create Find Calm Here as a virtual community. And I also met Nick on the call with Jesse, and that's why we're here today with Nick. So weird how one opportunity after another that you take of just saying yes, which I love Mel's thing where she was saying yes. So I said yes to some Zoom calls that I didn't even know. I just had time because I wasn't working during this pandemic, and I was terrified because I had lost all my sales and I didn't know what I was doing. And I just put myself on these Zoom calls and said, I'm just going to see if I can learn from other people. And that's how we are where we are right now, 2 months later. So anything can happen. You guys are amazing. And I know that everybody on this call is going to do amazing things in your life. I am so thankful for you to be here. Hopefully you can keep joining us on all the Find Calm Here events going forward. The recording, if anybody I didn't mention that, the recordings are in the Find Calm Here community for exclusive content. So they're not accessible to the public, but if you want to grab those, they will be in the community when we do the launch. And again, I gave you guys the code. So if you need that later, let me know. Thank you so much for being here. Everybody, if you could just, before you leave, wave and say goodbye and unmute yourself and just say goodbye, because I love when that happens.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you,
great.
Deb. Thank you, Nick.
Bye.
Thank
you,
all.
Nick. Thank you, Deb. Bye, guys.
Bye.
See you later.